Let's do it. Hey everyone, welcome to the Leadership Talks podcast. I am Wilka Nascimento, and today I have Aladin with us. Welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. How are you?
Yeah, Aladin. So I'm super excited because this Leadership Talks, we talk about hospitality, we talk about how we start in our career. So introduce yourself to the listeners.
Yeah, I started my career back in 1998 in New York City when I started in hotel business. So over 20 some years, I think.
Wow.
So that's when I started my hotel career in the business. I was fortunate enough to have someone that my first job was at the Plaza Hotel in New York City, 1998. And I started as a greeter at the Palm Court, like a host, and that's how my career started. Fairmont Resort was managing the property at that time, and they took me under their wings and trained me, and it was a union hotel, so I had to learn the hard way. And working for a union hotel as my first hotel job. From there, I moved to Connecticut, and then I opened some hotels: Hilton, Marriott, DoubleTree, Hilton's again, Holiday Inn as a food and beverage director, and just have some mentor in my life that I met through my career and teach me the ropes. And of course, went to school and did some hospitality training, and then here we are, 20 some years later. For now, I'm managing a property in Myrtle Beach. This is where home for me is. Kids and families are here. So the property called the Crown Reef. It's over 514 rooms, three restaurants, water park, tiki bar, three buildings. It's a massive operation. We have timeshare in the building, and it's busy.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, to join the podcast today. But also, I love that you said, oh, I started, I've learned, and people, took me under their wings because also in the hospitality, as you know, you have so many choices, right? You can become a revenue manager, you can go into the sales side of it. I was a director of sales. And fun fact enough, right? Because I also opened a hotel in New York where we both, we have this amazing guest in common and colleague. Huge shout out to Scott because
Yeah.
Scott was one of my first guests at the Hampton that I opened in Yonkers. And
Wow.
when I came to Ocean City, I think it was 2 years ago, I was in an event and then I met you and then I saw reconnected with Scott and he's like, oh my gosh, really hospitality,
Yeah.
it's a small world.
Well, comes in circles. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Good.
Aladdin, I wanted to hear from you. Like, what is your, from all of these trainings, all of your experience in the industry now, you have these massive operations, a full service hotel with restaurants and so on. But what is your leadership approach?
So I always people ask, like, what is the secret sauce, right? So how do you motivate people? What do you do? Um, basically, I would say don't complicate it, right? We're in a service industry and just treat people the way you want to be treated. And that goes to the same to your employees, right? So to me, I always had this model. My secret sauce is my employees come first. Of course, we want guests who's going to pay the bills. But if you don't have your good employees, you're not going to have those guests. So I really always focus on training and educating staff. Keep them involved, right? They need to know everybody's, it's not, back in the day that you can't tell them anything. The staff needs to be involved. So that's my leadership, um, you know, skills that I do with my staff, so I always suggest monthly training. We're always here to train. I always do a front desk training, food and beverage training. Share your P&L with your managers because if they don't know their financials, they don't know where they stand. Nobody wants to be cut. It's like, oh, what happened here? So, as a matter of fact, now it's like budget season. Everybody knows this is the time it's crunch time. So, for example, I take my managers by departments and I give them budget and say, all right, well, let's work on this together so they can learn how to do it. At some point, sometime, they're going to be me. And that's what you want to teach them, right? So I think it's a long way, right? You develop leaders. How do you develop leaders? By teaching them. Yes, you can go to school and have your hospitality degree, but there's nothing like having a mentor that's going to teach you daily, right? And work
Exactly.
with you and hold your hand. Yeah. So I mean, basically, that's what I do.
Okay, okay. And I think I saw you very much, I gotta give you a little bit of a appreciation here because I saw you in action, right? I attended a dinner in Ocean City that was in your prior property. And when I think it was like the end of the event, they said, oh, thank you for hosting GM so and so. And then you're like, you were looking for everybody else
Yeah.
of your team
Yeah.
that was working that night, and you were like the last
Yeah.
one to go on stage and, you know, get the appreciation and the applause
Absolutely.
for everybody. So
Yeah.
that is for me, like all hands on deck. It's definitely, the hospitality way of, post COVID, right? Like, because
Yeah.
before you would see so many GMs just like, oh, well, share the BO with you, during the meetings, and that's that, right? So, but
Yeah.
I really,
Yeah.
I gotta give it to you. I appreciate. I loved
Thank
seeing
you.
that
Yeah.
because that is what leadership is, right? It's like you walk
Hmm.
the talk. It's not just,
Yeah.
um, just to show, right? It's like you're
Yeah.
really there,
Yeah.
you're really with your team. But Aladin, I wanted to, ask you also, because you worked throughout the pandemic as well, and you have this knowledge of beach market. You are in Myrtle Beach. What have you seen from, the guest perspective? Are they a little bit more conscious on where they're spending their money and how they're spending their money?
So I think the whole world has changed, as we know. But I noticed from different markets, things change, coming from Ocean City to Myrtle Beach. And just talking to colleagues. So my market, it's all transient and resort. Um, the rates are high, the ADR is there. So people are spending money, but they're very conscious as far as there's always you want to give them something. We are giving, for example, there's packages now that we have. You got a free refill of soda for your kids. It's you got tickets to the water park. They are always looking for an incentive, right? So free breakfast. Things have changed because I feel because we are not doing the um, stayover service, right? Most
Mhm.
hotels are not doing it anymore, just trash and towels. So they feel like their money is not spent well. So we give them some more, we'll say, okay, we're going to make that difference by giving you this. We do get that pushback as like, well, my room is not done. And but no one does it anymore. Things change. It's trash and towels. We do full service upon request. But to your question, yeah, the clientele has changed for sure. Market to market is different. Beach market because you have families and kids. Our rooms are 5 to 7 people occupancy. Now, if you go to downtown DC or Chicago, you have, your corporate travelers, right? You have 1 or 2 airline occupant per room. It's easy, right? It's not the same. So our rooms are really, so we can have up to 3,000 guests on the resort per day. So it's a lot of towels, a lot of linens, and um, so it definitely does change compared to what used to be before, for sure.
Aladdin,
Yeah.
I appreciate, you bringing that up as well, because I was actually, just in Puerto Rico for, some downtime myself. And what I've learned also on this travel, right, like at the airport, and everybody's just like boom, 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 right, like focus on where they're going, what they're doing. So the hospitality flair, right, it's still
Yeah.
important for your
Hmm.
staff to share with guests, right? How
Hmm.
do you mentioned training, but like could you be a little bit more, specific on how do you guys do this training on, the front desk, the breakfast, the water park staff?
So we have seasonal staffing. So We have J1s and H2Bs that comes for the season. And we're fortunate to have it, thank God, because we have over 250 employees employed now for the season. Sunday is a big day for housekeeping, too. That's how we're training for the day. Um, we have, we have a different variety of countries that work with us. And I really, as you know, I like to bring the international play to it. We all speak 5 languages, so we kind of I do one in Spanish and in French, and we have Jamaican and Haiti, and everybody says, "What do you do in your country?" They love to do those swans on the tables, and you have somebody that does that, right? So I say, okay, for example, Susie, you're going to be the one doing the swans on all the arrivals for this floor. That's all you're going to do your job, and people just love that, right? So when you come in, it's like it only took her 2 or 3 minutes to do one swan per bed. But when you come in, that's a big, huge difference for a guest when they come in. And then the staff say, well, I can do this in my country in Turkey. This is what they do. And it gets them going. Every week we do something like that, and it keeps the team motivated, right? The front desk, what we do is we do nothing to me. I don't know about the rest, but role model, right? So I say, I'm checking in and let's do some scenarios. Oh, come on. I said, let's just try it. All right, you go first. I'll come back this way. The first one gets awkward, the second one, and then the third one, they get like, oh my God, this is fun. And it just gets them going. And it really, that's a hands-on training that we do once a week. And I know we're all busy, but sometimes I say, let's 30 minutes a week. So Sundays, there will be the day of training. We have a lot of checkouts at the front desk, and the house is going to be turned on Sunday. So we do that a lot. That's my training that we do with the staff.
Wow. I love what you said. I love to bring the international flair because, as you know, I'm from Brazil, right? And I was a J1 student back in the day. And I have so much appreciation, for hotel general managers, ownership that give it a chance, right? Because in the end of the day, I think when I started, right, the J1s was like something that was starting really to pick up in these states. But now it's like, especially at the beach market, it's like everybody's from another country, right? It's from somewhere
Yeah.
and are here, to get a little bit of, experience and go back to their country and school as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in terms of the way you mentioned in, bringing what they do in their country to your hotel, it's so fun because you're talking about building that team culture in your hotel, right? Which is so important. And I think people that are not focusing on people that are working for them, regardless, right? If they're just here temporarily 4 months or so, it's definitely, a business that where people rely on each other. So you need to understand their culture. So tell me, how difficult or how easy it is for you, to manage this array of cultures in your property.
It is really sometimes we have this property we have 5 language 5 countries, and it's always fun when some doesn't speak English and you try to teach them how to do the room or read the boards and housekeeping, or clean in the kitchen when they have to clean. We have banquet tonight of 300 people, so I always get involved and just to help them, to make them comfortable, right? So I take a BEO and says, this is what the chicken is called. Then we write it on the BEO, and it's fun. I don't want you to be embarrassed that you don't speak it. It's just fun. To me, hospitality is international, right? There is no language to it. You just make people happy. You don't even have to speak, right? You just smile and people will just smile. So to me, it's not difficult. Maybe because I'm multi-language, but I do help my managers, and they feel comfortable when we do stand up. I like when some people, translate, right? So you want them to feel comfortable, and then it's fun. They're not timid or embarrassed to ask the questions. In housekeeping, there's 5 or 6 things that you're going to talk about every day. Pillowcases, sheet, this. If you write that in their language, and we have, they're like, wow, these people really took the time to translate for us, and it just makes our life and job easy, and the service, it's exceptional because they feel comfortable, right? So for example, this week is housekeeping week, right? So we had to cook, and I will be posting my pictures for today. So we had to cook 5 dishes. It was a lot of work. So we had to cook 5 different dishes with, Jamaican chicken and this and that. It was so much fun.
That's engagement, right, Aladin? And I think if you don't
Yeah,
have your staff engaged, it's a little bit trickier to do your job, right? As
yeah, yeah,
presenting the
yeah,
P&L to the owners on a monthly call, right? But I think that is definitely, a leadership style that I appreciate, and then it's inspiring to see, because also when you teach one another and you work together, definitely your guest
yeah,
review scores are going up, right? And that's in every platform that the hotel is measured. But talking about leveling up, right, in terms of leadership coming from the ownership, right?
yeah.
How do you actually also stay motivated? Because I see all of your posts as well on LinkedIn, and you have an event. You mentioned the housekeeping week. You're going to be sharing photos, because I think what is lacking a little bit from a few general managers that I've seen and worked throughout my career is this lack of enthusiasm and knowledge about digital marketing. But talk to us about that.
Yeah, it is very important because um, everybody's in social media, including guests, right? Guests on social media. Our, our staff is on social media. This is definitely different from the 90s when we started, right? So, as far as guests traveling, when they see the engagement on the property and how happy the staff is, it's welcoming. When they watch your reviews, it's welcoming. Everybody does that, including staff. If you're hiring a DOS or director of F&B, whatever the case may be, they check your social media to see if to me, if the general manager is not name is not in social media, there's something wrong. I mean, I would never let my front office manager. Yeah, some GMs are not, they're busy, but I think your name should be out there. This is your product, right? You're the salesperson. Your name should be out there. Um, and going back to owners like that, some owners do want to see that. Talking about owners, we're working on the budget right now. I strongly suggest to managers should put every month you should put some money on the side on your budget for employee appreciation. Some companies don't do that. You really should. What's $500 a month? Of whatever the case may be. And what I do is I do one for the employees and one for managers as well, because you need to take time to celebrate, right? Whatever it is, you got to take time to celebrate. Bad and good, you have to do that. And it really does. So I'm looking at my numbers. Now we're gonna do it's budget time. I have to find, ways to put some money in there to celebrate with my staff, right? So
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the celebration part is like you work so hard, right? And then you get those contracts or you hit that budget for that month. You gotta celebrate with everybody.
yeah,
And I love
yeah,
what you said too. The name of the general manager, the DOS, has to be out there, because not just the guests are reading, but your colleagues are also seeing it,
hmm,
right? And if
hmm,
you're looking to hire someone, definitely, that was one of the best practices I did. I was like, oh, I'm interviewing this guy. Let me take a look who he is and how he treats his team, right? So
hmm,
I
hmm,
definitely agree with that, because, as you know, right, like I've been very focused on my own social, engagement on LinkedIn, especially because it's how you present not just yourself, but the company you work for, or the hotel you work for. But in the end of the day, people need to know your face, right? Because it's
hmm.
that sales strategy, which you need to be seen more than 5 times
Yes,
for somebody to remember you. It's like
yeah,
all
yeah,
of that engagement is definitely needed, especially on this
yeah.
day and age where everybody's just so quick, 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 right?
Hmm, hmm.
But Aladdin, I wanted to, ask where do you think, the future hospitality is looking like for 2024?
Talking about our market, I think we were looking at some strong numbers. I think it's going to be a good month for sure. Um, Hospitality and travel always going to be there. It's something that people need, um, right? And so I don't see any slowing down. I know for the beach market, drivable market, which is Myrtle Beach, North Carolina, Atlanta, those are markets that are going to do so well. Um, we are fortunate and lucky enough in our hotel, we have amenities. People are looking for amenities. So we target a different audience here, including banquets that we have. So we do groups and, how fun is it to have a water park in your hotel with 500 rooms? So conventions and retreats and stuff. So we always will, the market, Myrtle Beach will be busy. Um, our comp set, we have over 300 hotels in the area, but not too many with the amenities that we have. But to answer your question, going back, I think the market is strong. The 24 is going to be a very strong month, talking to my colleagues and stuff and see. So I think it's going to be a really good year, knock on wood. So we're looking forward to it. It really is going to be a great year. So
Awesome, Aladin. Well, thank you so much. Any last words for our listeners that are interested in joining the hospitality industry? What would you suggest?
I definitely like the engagement of different managers and ideas, and we always learn, right? They'll never stop learning. Um, 20 years or 10 years or 5 years, you're always learning from your colleagues. So, like you do, and we all do, social media, and always be out there talking to people, learning. So, don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything. And same thing for everybody that's listening. So, awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aladin, for your time today, and have a great time
You're
at the
very
water park
welcome.
ending this summer and, preparing for budget season. Fun times. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Thanks. Thank you. Good talking.